Hello, welcome back. It feels like a long time since I've done anything on the Viking Longship, but hopefully in this video I'm going to get it completely done so we can finish the ship today. Thank you to everybody who's been sending in shields. As you can see, I've got quite a few. I've got enough. I think I've got 26 now. I'm waiting on one more to come in, but obviously by the end of this video it'll be tomorrow or whenever that shield is going to arrive, and then we can get that on and finish it completely in this video. I'm glad so many of you got involved and made a shield. I did end up making a few more myself just to get the numbers up there so there's enough for the ship. Maybe I should have increased the size of the shield slightly so then I didn't need quite as many, but anyway, I've got enough shields, so let's just get straight into the video. And in this video I'm going to be, as I said, completely finishing the boat. So I've got to rivet all the decks on and the shields, get the oars in, and there's quite a bit to do to get it all finished, but hopefully it's all going to come together really nicely. Here are some of the pieces for the Viking Longship. Obviously there's the main boat and then the decks, but because these have been sat in the workshop for a few weeks, they've got some rust on, so I want to take that off. I was originally thinking about doing a hot oil, hot beeswax finish on them, but I think I've changed my mind, and all that I'm going to do is brush over them slightly with a wire brush on the angle grinder. So it is quite aggressive, but I want to be light on it. I'm not trying to put a high polish, I'm just taking the rust off, trying to leave that sort of forged finish on it really, but just going over with a wire wheel, and then I'll do a clear lacquer on it rather than an oil. And I'm going to get that consistent finish on it with the wire wheel before I put the shields on, because obviously if I put the shields on and then try wire wheel afterwards, I'm not going to be able to get in all of the gaps in between the shields and the oars and everything. So I'll do it now, then we can assemble them all together. Now we've got it nice and clean and all wire brushed, I can begin to think about actually assembling it together. And I think I've had to think about the oars, and I am just going to drill a hole and let them sit like that. As you can see, it's sort of at the correct angle. That's a 6.5mm hole, and I think that's going to be fine. If we have the oars sort of there, you know, you can see that they're going to be okay and they're not falling out. So I don't think there's any need to put like a little rivet in there or anything. I'm just going to drill the holes and let the oars sit resting down like that. The oars are going to be in between every shield, so there'll be a shield there which gets riveted on, and then I'll drill a hole for the oar and then do that all the way along. I'm going to sort of do this as a bit of a trial and error type of a assembly, in that I'm just going to drill a hole here, start on this side and work my way down to here, rather than drilling two holes and one in the middle to get all of the shields, you know, an equal distance apart. Instead of doing that, because all the shields, they are slightly different sizes, I'm just going to go from one end to the other, and hopefully we can get it as centered and as even on both sides of the ship as I can. Also, we've still got these little boots, which are what I'm going to use, or knees they're actually called, which is what I'm going to use to attach the deck to the ship. And hopefully we can line them up so that the rivet is going to go through a shield as well as the boot, rather than just having a random rivet into the knee. We can have it going through a shield and through there. These, of course, need holes drilling in, 4.5mm holes, so that we can actually rivet it onto the outside and onto the deck, and the mast also, of course, needs to be riveted on to the middle. I've cut this piece of wire to the length that I've worked out as a rough idea of where the shields are going to sit on the outside of the ship. So I'm going to try, I'm literally just eyeballing this to get it as even as I can. And so that'll be where the first shield is going to go. And I'm going to do that as the dated shield. This one. So that one's going to go there. And that's sort of, you know, the touch mark piece to give you some information about the ship. So I figured I might as well put that one first, and then we can carry on with all of these other shields which you've all been making. So there we are, there's the first shield onto the ship. We've just got to do that a lot more times. Set my calipers to 7mm so I can mark the gap. And so that is where an oar will go, in that gap. I can now get ready, this will be the next shield. So I've also scribed a 6mm line there coming along. So I can place the shield onto the ship, get it in line, the edge of the shield in line with that 7mm mark, and then the middle or the centre in line there. Try and get a chalk mark on it. And so that's where we drill our next hole. And there we are, that's the second shield on the ship now. I've realised I'm going to have to take one of these shields off, as I forgot about the boot, which is going to get riveted on there. So I'm going to have to take that one off and then rivet on the shields. And obviously this one we can have going through and onto that boot. But I'll do that. I'll rivet these shields on right at the end, because that means that I'm riveting the deck on right at the end. So I'll do all of the other shields first. So I'll just leave a gap there for now. And then do the deck with the sail and all the boots right at the end once we've got most of the shields on. I've got the shields running along both sides, apart from these two, as those two, as I said, they're going to be the ones that connect onto the deck. So I'm going to leave those for now, and I'm going to drill the holes for the oars, even though those two shields aren't on. I'm going to drill the holes for the oars, as I think that's going to be easier to do now without having the deck on and the mast in the way. Drill those holes, rivet the deck on, And that's pretty much it. We're then done, I think. I've got all the holes drilled for the oars, and you can see how they're going to sit now in the ship. And I think it is actually quite a good way to do it, just to let the oars drop and rest there in the hole, rather than having to put like a rivet on, so that then they're sort of secured in the hole. But yeah, I think that's going to be the best way to do it, and just have the oars able, being able to slide the oars in and out and whatever. I think that's a good way to do it, and there is a bit of a movement side to side as well. Next thing is the rudder. So I'm going to rivet this on at the back of the ship here, and it's actually, I've realised as well, somebody told me, I think it was on Instagram, I can't remember, but this isn't actually called a rudder. It does the same job as a rudder, as it steers the ship, but apparently they were called steering boards, so it's a much simpler name. But the steering board went on the back right of the ship, and so that is where starboard comes from. Steering board, starboard, which means the right of the ship. That's apparently where this comes from. So the steering board goes on the back right of the ship. Just got to rivet that on, and then we can work on the boots and getting the deck on. I've been drilling holes in the knees so we can attach them to the deck. You see, we'll get a rivet through there and then one through there, and that will go through a shield for the bigger section of the deck. Obviously, I still need to get the mast in there. But on these boots, which are the ones that are going to be on the back half, and as I said in the last video, whenever that was, the back is going to be removable so you can see the inside. So what I've done is I've still drilled 2 holes, even though this one's not going to be riveted through the deck, through a shield, through the boards on the outside of the ship, as this needs to be removable. But I've still drilled 2 holes so that we can put a blind rivet in there. It's got a countersink in the back, so I could just put a rivet in there, so we end up with that button, so that it matches these other 4 knees. If I just had it being riveted into the deck and a nice smooth section there, it would look a little bit odd, as the other ones obviously have the rivet where they're actually being connected to the ship. So I'll sort of do a fake on this piece so it looks like it's riveted to the ship, and then you can still take the back out. I'll start by doing these 2 knees so we can get the back section of the ship done, and then I'll move on to riveting these knees on. And I think I'm going to do it so I rivet them all onto the deck first, then rivet the sail on, and then rivet it on through the shields. I've got the sail clamped in the vise. I can flip this over and rivet it on through this hole. And I'm doing the sail at a bit of an angle. I don't know if you can see it in the bottom of the screen, but I'm doing it at an angle to the actual deck, because I think that's going to look better rather than it just being square to the deck. I think, that's how the sail would actually be, in a way, a bit more at an angle. So hopefully this is going to rivet well enough. I'm going to do it cold, or I'm going to try and do it cold. That almost certainly means that this is going to crack, but because this is on the underside, you're never going to see it, like that horrible piece there, which is completely off square, but it's okay. You're never going to see it, so I'm hoping that I can get away with doing this cold, even though it's probably going to crack. Well, I was wrong. It didn't crack. I think I must have normalised the tenon before. At the end of the heat, I must have normalised it. But yeah, that's actually turned out really well. I think the sail is on there nice and strong. This is not going to be easy, because I've got to try rivet this somehow with the sail on there. I may have to make like a stake to go in the vise or something so I can actually get in there. Maybe I might be able to try it on the bick, on the end of the horn. We'll see. I think the best way to do it is just to have a go and see what position, mad position I'm going to have to get in to actually be able to rivet this. There we go. It's riveted on there. It was only slightly awkward to get it on, but we managed to do it. So I've got the next 3 to do, and that is it. Once we've done that, it's completely done. When I was taking on this project, I knew that it was going to be sort of an ambitious goal that I had to try and work to create this thing. My original idea was to actually make a pirate ship, but I thought that would be too hard, so I then downsized it to making a Viking Longship. And I have to say that I'm really happy actually with how it's turned out. There are a couple of places where obviously it could be better. Everything can always be better when you look at it. I think that's a really good habit to get into, to critique your own work. But on the whole, I'm really happy with how the ship's turned out. I think it looks really cool when you actually look at it and you're looking at it from the front and you can see all of the clinker built ship, you know, the clinker built boards coming out at the front of the ship, and I just think it looks amazing, really. Thank you to everybody who got involved. That's another brilliant thing that's happened on this project, is getting you subscribers to make shields, send them in, and then you can watch me put them on the ship. So you've added your own personalised touch to the project, and I really like that. As you're looking at the ship, you can see all of the different shields, and it gives the piece a bit more of a story, because I've had shields coming in from literally all over the world. So America, I had one from New Zealand, all over England obviously, but then yeah, just everywhere. It's been amazing. The amount of people who are watching the channel all over the world is you know, it's quite funny to think that there are that many people across the world who want to get involved in making this little thing in this little shed that I have in Clitheroe in Lancashire. This has been a really big project for me to take on myself. It's not the biggest thing that I've ever made, but it has taken me a long time to make it. It's definitely the biggest sort of project that I've done on YouTube. This is my first big project, really. But yeah, I reckon if you add up all the time that I've spent on it, it's probably been around 2 weeks solid working on making this ship. But I'm really happy, as I said, with the finished outcome. I will be doing another big project at some point. I do want to make a pirate ship because I think that would be quite cool. I've also got an idea for a safe and making like a padlock to go on the safe. I think that would be a cool thing to try and make at some point. So they're 2 ideas that I have, but again, they're going to be really big things that are going to take me a long time to make. But I do want to make them, obviously. However, I think because I've only just finished making the Viking Longship, I'll give myself a bit of a rest and do some other stuff in the workshop for the time being. Obviously, I do have other work which I actually get paid for. I don't get paid for doing the Viking Longship. That was just something that I wanted to make. You know, I thought it was a really cool thing to have a go at making, so I had to go at making one. But as I said, I will be doing a bigger project at some point, but probably not for, I don't know, a month or so. I've got some other ideas of smaller things that I want to make, so I'll do some videos on those at some point, and then when I get around to it, I'll do another big project about making a pirate ship or a safe or whatever. I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do first. Thank you for sticking around until the end of the video. I hope that you've enjoyed watching me finish the Viking Longship. If you've missed any of the other videos, I'll link them about the places. This is, I think, part 7, so there's 6 other videos in which I'm making stuff for the Viking Longship, so you can go and watch one of those if you've missed any. But as for this video, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.